Hello, everyone. I'm Caitlin Moore, the Financial Literacy Manager here at Union Bank and Trust. And today is our fourth and final presentation in the Red Flag series. And we're going to be talking about fraud and scams as far as the banking world goes and financial world. What are we seeing as far as fraud and scams? And I'm going to go through several types of scams. So if there are questions, feel free to ask. We're going to start with social media scams. This is a big one. It's becoming more and more popular because it's aimed at younger people. Not to say that adults to elderly are not being scammed. It's just more highlighted on the younger folks side. So social media scams, we're seeing this in every social media outlet out there. So we're not isolated to just one. And that's because most of our social media options and apps have payment options within them. So Facebook, for instance, they almost have their own currency, it seems like, but you can send and receive money through Facebook and their apps, and they all link into PayPal or Venmo and things like that. So most of our apps are just connected to our bank accounts anyway. Apple Pay is an option too. So scammers are using social media platforms to connect. So one of the things that our call center and who do take a lot of these calls regarding scam have said that what they see is you may have a friend, for example, that you went to high school with, but it's been a while since you connected face to face. Maybe you moved away, they moved away, but you're still on Facebook with them. Well, what scammers are doing is they're hacking into these Facebook accounts and talking to you as a friend because you knew them at one point, but you just haven't seen them. And then all of a sudden they need money. And this is where the red flag goes up, because we would say that we know this person. And at one point we were friends with them face to face, but we just haven't seen them in say 10 years, but they're suddenly asking us for money. So that's one of the ways that they're getting people to send them money, is when a random person, though one of your friends, is asking for money. So one of the things we're going to talk about is just kind of the red flag in that. What can we do? What are we looking for? How can we avoid it? They'll send requests to make fast cash, but they'll say, I'm going to send you an overpayment. So I'll send you 5, you send me 3,000 back, even in small funds. So when there's payments going through Facebook or social media, I don't want to say Facebook exactly. It's one of those that I use the most. And I think it's more universally used, but I don't want to just highlight Facebook. I'm talking about all social media outlets. But on these outlets, if you're selling something and a payment is being processed because of that, oftentimes you'll see that type of make fast cash. I'll send you an overpayment for this item. You send me money in return. So that would be a big red flag. And then some are asking for your online banking and mobile banking information. So this could be your friend or say your former friend, but it's been hacked. They'll just say, this is just easier if you just send me your bank account information and I'll do the transaction for you. So don't worry, I'll do all the dirty work for you. That would be a red flag. And we've talked about this before, that you should never send your online banking information to anyone, or mobile banking, your sign on, anything like that. Especially if the person is someone that you haven't seen in a while, so you have no idea. We're going to talk about kind of how to deal with this. One of the things, if you suspect a social media scam, so if anybody's asking you for money, regardless of when you saw them last, if you know them personally, if you don't, one of the things you need to do is stop communicating with that person immediately. A lot of reasons why immediately is key, but there's ways to hack into your information. The longer you talk to someone, they get your identity, things like that. So the faster you stop talking, the better. One of the things I didn't put on here is seek that person out. So if this is somebody that maybe you can have access to face to face, you have their phone number still, seek them out and ask them, are you really asking me for money? Because we could do this a different way. Don't just go through social media outlets to send money. So if somebody is asking you for money, seek them out another way. Update your password and security I can't say the word today. Your security password, all that good stuff. Update that immediately. Simply because of just the way that hackers work. The longer you talk to them, the more ability they have to hack into your account. Alert the person the scammer is posing as. So regardless of how long you've been talking to them or haven't or know them, at least let them know. So seek them out a different way. If you have paid a scammer with gift cards, oftentimes scammers right now, regardless of the outlet, social media or not, they're asking for gift cards because once you've paid into a gift card, it's very hard to stop that gift card from being used. So, but if you have, alert the gift card issuing company, whether it's Visa, Walmart, Target, whoever these gift cards are from, alert them. And if you still have the receipts, they can often stop the payment and cancel the cards. It's very rare because by the time you realize it's happening, a lot of times those cards are just out of your range, but at least let them know. And then if you give your personal information to any scammer, contact your bank as soon as possible. This is very, very important, regardless of payment process. Make sure that you contact your bank immediately because they can put a freeze on your account to make sure that nothing is coming and going out of your account until it's all cleared up. So this is a very, very key piece of information. If you've bought or paid a scammer with any of your debit card, credit card, contact your bank immediately and they could just freeze your account until you're ready to unfreeze it. And then if you identify a deposit on your account that you haven't processed, so sometimes scammers will just pay you regardless of talking to you or telling you what's going on, and then they will contact you. So if you see a deposit on your account, you need to contact your bank immediately also to let them know that there's fraud on your account. Don't just think a random $3,000 is yours. That's what a lot of young people fall into. They think, oh, the bank made a mistake, I'm going to keep it. Well, the scammer is going to come after their money eventually. So it's a much better idea to contact your bank as soon as possible, let them know there's been a scam on your account, and then go from there. So that's for social media. And it looks very different, but the main part of the social media is that scammers are posing as people you may know. And it could be your mom, it could be your best friend, it could be a friend from high school, but they're hacking into friends, Facebooks, Snapchats, Instagrams, and then they're asking people for money. And you're likely not the only target on their account. So oftentimes what I've seen, even if I think somebody's been hacked because they're posting something weird, they're saying some weird stuff, I'll try to contact them a different way and just let them know because then they can change their password and then they are good to go. But if you suspect anything else or have gone through any with payment of anything else, make sure you contact your bank or the issuing company that gave you the debit Visa card or the gift cards, and just let them know that that's happened. Your bank also might alert you to call the police. It's very important that the police know about these scams. They keep track of that. They kind of know what's going on within their city or their county, and they like to know that information. So regardless, it's always a good thing to report it to the police. Let's talk about Social Security scams. This is one that's definitely targeted at a certain audience. Oftentimes it's elderly that are receiving their Social Security, or folks with some sort of disability, things like that. So it actually could be younger folks too. A lot of times we see this in elderly. So what this is looking like as we've seen it here at the bank is that folks are getting robocalls or live calls on their cell phones or home phones from the fraudsters pretending to be government employees. So you pick up the phone and they say, I'm so-and-so from the Social Security office. And they have it down what the greeting would normally be. So they definitely sound like someone from the Social Security office. And then they're going to claim that there's some sort of identity theft or a problem with your Social Security number, your account, your benefits, all that good stuff. They're going to state the problem. And then they're going to let you know that if you don't fix the problem right now on the phone, there's going to be threats of arrest or legal action. So a lot of times this doesn't just go for Social Security. This goes for all government entities that they could receive money through. So threats of arrest or legal action, you've been paid too much for so long. If you don't give us the money back right now, we're going to come to your house and arrest you. And that can be very, very scary, especially for folks that have no idea that this could be a fraud situation. So there's always the stating of the problem and then what will happen if we don't take care of it. The other part is they'll offer in exchange for money or payment somehow, they're going to say, we'll increase your benefits, or we'll protect you, or we'll resolve it for you. And that's just simply not the case. Social Security benefits are not increased just because you did something. Usually if you're getting Social Security, age 65, 67, that's set in stone. Once you set to process your Social Security, that's it. That's what it looks like. So it's very rare and almost non-existent for the benefits to increase without a lot of time and effort behind that. So and usually it's a face-to-face with the Social Security office. So you're not going to get a phone call from Social Security saying you should or shouldn't be doing this, or your benefits are wrong, things like that. You're not going to get those phone calls. And the other thing is that you're never going to get a Social Security employee or a government employee asking for payment over the phone, especially gift cards as a payment, cash, wire transfers, or internet currency. That's not the way they work. Social Security is there to give money, not receive money. And so if they're asking for large amounts of money in gift cards, or cash or wire transfer, that's where you're going to have to give them your bank account number, things like that. That should be a red flag. And there's several things that you can do. One is just know that the Social Security offices will never call and threaten you. They will never take legal action if you don't pay a fine or a fee. They cannot promise benefit increases in exchange for payments. And the biggest thing throughout this fraud and scams presentation is really to be aware of the currency that they're asking for payment in. And if it doesn't align with what's happening, it's likely false. So if you're being paid Social Security, but they're asking for a gift card in return, that shouldn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense. So that is a big red flag that the currency, the exchange currency doesn't line up. And just a side note, why scammers would want gift cards is because a lot of times these scammers are overseas. And so they can still use things like Walmart gift cards and Target gift cards and Visa gift cards. They can't necessarily use the cash, or that becomes something you would do with your bank. So your bank might get involved. So gift cards tend to be an easier currency to send overseas to scammers. And so that's why they always go that way. But your Social Security office will not ask for a gift card. They won't. There's nothing they can do with that. So that should be a red flag. And then another thing, they will never send an official letter containing personal information, your personal information. So if you get a letter from the Social Security office that has your Social Security number on it, your account on it, all the things that likely would not, we're saying that it's likely not going to be on there, that should be a red flag. So what do you do with these red flags? Stop communicating immediately with the person, hang up on them, do not respond. You can contact Social Security though. So I would highly suggest you go on to the Social Security website, grab the local phone number for your local office and call them and tell them, I got this call and I'm trying to confirm if it's correct. Okay, hanging up on a person is not going to get you in any more trouble than they're already stating that you might be in. So calling the Social Security number and asking for someone I'm talking to someone in the office and asking them, was this legitimate? Is there really a problem with my account? That's really the best way to go, or to go down to the Social Security office. I know that's not everybody's dream to go down to a government building downtown here in Lincoln, but they're pretty nice down there. Every time I've been down there, it's not been too busy. So if you come across one of these red flag scenarios and need to go down to the office, it really is a good idea, because then you know you're in the right place and talking to the right person. If you happen to have paid a scammer already with gift cards, contact the issuing company. Just like with the social media scams, contact the company. They may be able to stop payment. They may not. It may be a loss, but at least they know what's happening. And then if you have released any of your financial information, including your bank account number, contact your bank as soon as possible. They can freeze your account. Freezing your account does not delete it, does not make it go away. It just makes it so nothing can come and go. So work with your bank on that. They can put some red flags on your account to say, hey, look for this stuff. That's what they do. We have a whole department that does that. So here at UBT, it's really just a phone call away for folks to help you out with that. All right, money mule scams. This is kind of a weird one as far as the name, but I'm sure a lot of people it'll click once I start explaining what a money mule scam is. And it happens a lot, and we actually don't realize it's happening as much as it is. But hopefully, once I get done with explaining this, you'll be able to drive down the road and actually start identifying money mule scams that are happening in and around our local area in Lincoln, but I'm sure outside of Lincoln too. So what a money mule scam is a scammer recruiting you, a victim, to move money elsewhere. So what they do is they get all this stolen money or this money that's not clean. It's dirty money. So it could be drug deals or the things we're going to talk about, and they're trying to get it clean. So they're trying to get it into an account or with someone it's not identifiable as maybe something's happening. So they're trying to turn dirty money into clean money. And so what they do is they'll often try to recruit people through various things like work at home or online dating or prizes and lottery. If you've ever driven down the road and you see those work at home, make fast cash, make more than you're making now by working at home, working part-time, and those signs have caught your eye, it is more than likely a money mule scam. It is somebody trying to recruit someone off the street that just feels like, yeah, I can make some quick cash. I don't have to work that much. They're trying to recruit you to give you this dirty money, this stolen money, so that it hits your bank account and then they're going to get it back somehow. And it makes it less red flaggish to the bank. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do is, number one, ignore those signs. That's really a too good to be true scenario when it comes to working at home, working part-time, but making more than you did when you were working full-time. If anything seems too good to be true, you need to look deeper into it. Because if it was true that we could work part-time and make more money than we've ever made before from home, why aren't we all doing it? So that's a question to ask yourself. If this was true, why isn't everyone doing this? Why is it just on a road sign, a cheap plastic road sign on the corner of a main highway? That doesn't make sense. So you have to really ask yourself, does this make sense? Does this apply? And why isn't everyone else doing it? And why is it just on this little road sign? Same goes with prizes and lottery. You may get an email, an email or a phone call or a text message saying, you've won this prize, please contact us. Or just like the former scams, they'll say, you've won this prize, we're going to send you an overpayment and you send us money back. Well, really, there was no overpayment. We'll get to what that actually looks like with your bank account. Some of the ways that they recruit are also with job titles. They may say you could be a mystery shopper, or we need an intern, money transfer agent. That's a big title that is definitely how money mules find victims. Is you're going to be moving this money for them. Tutors, things like that. So if you see these job titles, maybe on websites, things like that, definitely look into them. See if they're reputable companies that are recruiting you. But if it's just a private person that's put out a job description, it's likely too good to be true, and it's likely something else besides what the job description actually says it is. Jobs may be posted through Craigslist or other online platforms that don't make sense. A lot of those bigger job search websites, they have a lot more security involved in them. They do a lot of cross-referencing to see if the company actually exists. So you might not see this on bigger websites that do job hunting, but on Craigslist or on Facebook or just smaller type of websites that aren't necessarily job finding websites, but you can put ads up, that's where they're posting things. And then you may receive an email, we saw your resume online, we want to hire you. You need to think back, where did I post my resume online? How long ago? And what kind of information was on that? And then look at the email does that line up? Because a lot of times you can tell from the email, the at blank.com, if it's a reputable company. Look into it. You can also just call the person or call the company they claim they're from and find out what it is. You can call the Better Business Bureau, find out if it is an actual company. There's a lot of investigating that you could do if you're really interested in what's being proposed to you. Just look into it further, because there is some red flags already in what we've talked about, that these should be red flags. So it's okay to look into it further, and it's okay for me to be wrong in your situation and it actually turned out to be a great situation for you, a great job. But definitely take note, look a little bit further, and ignore the signs on the side of the road that are offering this really good, great, too good to be true type of job situation. All right, so some of the other things included in money mule scams is the ads often say that the company is outside of the United States. All jobs are done online and great pay for little work. Those are kind of key terms that they're going to put in there. If the job is outside of the United States and it's on something like Craigslist, or you're getting an email that you never signed up to get, that should be a red flag. You should delete it. You should ignore it. It is too good to be true. If you're signing up for one of these jobs, these online jobs, and they're asking for your bank account number, or they say they need to open up a new bank account, follow the instructions, it's likely a red flag for you. It should be a red flag. That's not how companies work. Even if you do work from home, they're not going to ask for a lot of this information or ask you to open up a different bank account. So that should be a red flag. And if you ever are asked to do a job where you have to pay to start the job, just know that that is likely not a good company to be working for, and it is likely a lot more than what they're saying it to be, or that you have to pay a fee for materials or certification. It shouldn't be that way. That's not reality when it comes to promising jobs. And then the last one, you may be asked to deposit a check and then return the funds. So sometimes they'll do that for, quote, account verification. They'll give you a check, they want it back, but there's a lot more that goes into that from the bank account side. And again, the gift cards may come back, or they say they're going to send you money and you buy gift cards. That's a way to make that money disappear. So they're going to give you $1,000, you go to Walmart and you buy gift cards. It's at that point almost untraceable where this cash has gone, because you're just paying in cash and you're getting a gift card in return. So no company should be asking you to purchase gift cards as a form of payment. They shouldn't be giving you lump sums of cash to be buying gift cards for no good reason. I'm not talking about if your company's doing a party and you're going to go get a gift card for somebody as a gift. I'm talking about large lump sums of cash that are being filtered through gift cards. That should not be happening. And it is definitely okay to call the police if you are in the middle of that. How to avoid losing money. Don't accept a job that asks you to transfer money. We've kind of gone through this. That should be a red flag. No one should be asking you to transfer money as kind of the initiation to a job or your job orientation. That's not reality. Never send money if you're trying to collect on a prize or lottery. If you won the lottery, they're going to make you go down to the Nebraska Lottery Center, show several forms of identification. They're going to go through a lot of face-to-face before they hand you any money. You're never going to have to send them $20,000 to get $50,000 in return. That's just not how it works, and it shouldn't work that way with any job. You should not release your online or banking information, your account information. That goes for all of the scams. That's a big red flag. And then if you have already transferred or released funds to someone, call your bank. They can oftentimes get that money back for you. They're going to go through their reporting processes to make sure that all of this is reported to the police. They may ask you to, but the bank has a lot of security things that they have to do. So it's always a good idea, no matter what, to contact your bank. And then
question.
Yeah.
One of the young people that I work with was talking to me about a work at home job, and I was kind of skeptical. And then she sent me a link to a website of theirs. I think it was called Shift Smart. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but like I just like clicked on it and it like the page can't be found, so I'm kind of wondering if that was one of those places.
Yeah, it could be. That's a really good point, Amy, and I appreciate it. If these websites are disappearing, they'll look official the first time you see them, but if they're disappearing, that's a big problem, because how are you going to work for someone that doesn't even have their website up? So definitely, when in doubt, I would say call the Better Business Bureau or try to get a hold of Shift Smart. But sometimes calling the company, they're going to be able to cover for themselves. But yeah, I would say that's a huge red flag if their website is disappearing. Absolutely. All right. So if you suspect a money mule scam, so what should you do? Call your bank, definitely, but they're likely going to tell you to report this to the ftc.gov/complaint. That's kind of where all of these scams are reported to. If you've released any information, you need to call your bank, no matter what you've done. If it's social security numbers, online banking, call your bank. They'll be able to walk you through this a lot better, who you should call when. They could put a freeze on your account. Sometimes it's always a good idea to call the credit bureaus to freeze your personal account too. This just means you couldn't take out any credit. You can't use any credit at the time, but you can unfreeze it. So freezing your credit is a really good idea, because if somebody has your information, they could take out credit cards and loans in your name, and then you would be responsible for that debt. So it's not a bad idea to freeze your personal information. I was just on Experian, I think it was Experian.com the other day, my account, and they have freeze your account as one of the major things on the left-hand side of the screen. So they expect it. It's a good thing to do that if there's any sort of fraud that you're dealing with, especially on your bank account side. So definitely do that. It's okay to call the police. Your bank will probably tell you to call the police to report it, especially things like that website. It might be a good idea just to let the police know that that was being proposed, especially to a young person here in Lincoln. I don't know where she would have gotten that information, if it was emailed to her or she found on a website, but it might be a good idea just to let the police know, and they'll direct you to the right agency or right group that's looking into those things. So it may be a good idea just to let them know. Don't call 911. Just call the
That's a good idea.
line.
I was thinking that, I was going to follow up with her for sure, and let her know that, have you looked into this, because I just clicked on the website that you sent me and it's not a valid website anymore.
Yeah.
And then kind of go from there with her.
Yeah. And you may want to ask her too, like, did they ask you for any payment? Did you sign up for anything? Because if she's kind of gone through the process prior to that website disappearing, it doesn't mean they don't already have her information. So she definitely needs to check into that type of thing. Yep. All right. Thanks for bringing that up. That's a really good example to know about. So, all right, let's talk phishing scams. Not fishing as if we're going to the lake, but phishing. So it kind of looks like a lot of the other scams we've gone through. But just for some facts, in 2019, the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center reported that people had lost $30 million in the US to phishing scams. This is email, text message, and phone. That's where the money is disappearing. So scammers will attempt to trick you into releasing your personal information, and then that's how they steal your money. And they do this through email, text message, and phone. So once you've given them information, it's easier to find out other information. So if you can hack into the bank account, all your personal information's on there. There's ability to open up loans or credit cards in your name, things like that. And one of the ways that they can do this, because technology is so great, is you might get an email or a text message. The text message I'm finding is more common right now. That's just with me personally. I don't know what it looks like as far as the bank and what they're seeing. But I've noticed I've gotten a lot of text messages that said, "Hey, Caitlin," and they have my name. "Click here and update your information." Or, "There was a problem with your Target order. Please click here and find out what it is." So they're using websites that maybe you do a lot of online shopping on, and then they're getting your cell phone and they're texting you a weird link, and it never is www.target.com. It's weird numbers and letters all in this link, which you'd think that they'd be smart enough to fix that, but they're not. And so if you get a text message with that weird link on it, don't press it, because the technology that they're using is actually capturing your data and capturing your information. So they're able to log in under social media sites, online payment sites, apps that you have on your phone. So it's very dangerous to be clicking on these links. Now, opening up the text message, as far as I know, doesn't cause this. It's clicking the link. So one of the big things that I would love for people to preach more, especially to young folks and elderly folks, is don't click the link if you don't know what it is. I got one the other day that said there was something wrong with my order, with my online order. I think it named a company too. And I thought, man, have I ordered off them recently? I know that I have done orders, but I don't think that I've done anything recently. I did not click the link. I instead went to the company that they named and checked my orders that I had made, and I didn't have anything. So it was one of those weird situations where it was valid. It could have been valid. I really had to think, but instead of clicking the link, I went directly to the site that they said my order was messed up on. There's text messages out there that say, update your payment information on Amazon, and it'll have a link because they're saying, oh, your order's not going to go through unless you update your account information. And all of those are going to mimic the same website and company that they're naming, but it's not the official website. So that's a way that you can protect yourself, is if there's a link, don't press it, but instead go directly to the company that they're saying they're from and check out if the issue is within that company, even if you have to call them and let them know. And it's not a bad idea to call and let them know that somebody has hacked their information and is, texting everybody, all their clientele, telling them that there's an issue with their payments. So that's a way that you can definitely protect yourself, is just don't click the link, whether it's on an email or a text message. Don't click the link. Go directly to the company that they're saying they're from. And if it doesn't apply, if you've never purchased anything off of Target.com, then it shouldn't be an issue because you've never ordered off of there anyway. But and often what I'm seeing is that they're using the big box names that people are using a lot more often: Walmart, Target, Amazon, those big ones where everyone can say, yeah, at some point I have ordered off of them, and it may have been recently. So just keep that in mind. How to recognize phishing scams. This is what I was talking about. So they're going to say that they've noticed something suspicious on your activity or your login. Again, go back to the website, log in, and check it out for yourself. Don't click the link. They claim there's a problem on your account or the payment information. Say you must confirm personal information before they actually send out the item. They want you to click the link to make a payment. So they'll claim you have a payment problem. Just click this link. We'll go directly to the payment issue and you can resolve it. Or they'll say, if you click here, you're going to get a free something or other, merchandise or service. And this is outside of payment issues. They're just going to say, hey, Caitlin, if you want a free bike, because I'm a biker and I look into that stuff, and they're going to see that on, my web history or my social media. They might say, you can get a free bike if you click here and sign up. It's going to look like we're signing up for free merchandise, but you're never going to receive it. It's not what it's there for. So be very cautious if they're offering you something that you never sought out in the first place. Especially coupons. I think that that's a big one. I know that there's one big box chain that if you're standing in the store, they might have signs up that says, text this number to receive 20% off your next purchase. And that's fine. You're going to receive it right away, and you know that you did it. You implemented that request. But if you're just receiving a request out of nowhere, definitely take note of that. Look into it elsewhere. Don't click the link because they're going to capture a lot of your other data. So those phishing scams are very isolated to your online information. text message, your email, things like that, rather than going different routes. They're just going to directly have you click on some links, especially via email. So definitely look into that further. All right, online dating scams or romance scams. I've kind of condensed this. A lot of, actually, I think they're both on here. If they are, we're not going to go through all of them, but online or romance scams look very similarly. Before we move on, do you have any questions about the phishing scams? Okay. Online dating scams. This is a big one simply because it's just very popular. It's very easy. There's emotions involved, which is what scammers are going to go off of. They're going to go off emotion. And it's just a really easy way to scam someone. So has an online love interest ever asked you for money? It is a scam. This goes back to the social media stuff. If you haven't seen someone face to face, or if you even know them face to face, but you haven't seen them in a while, but they're requesting things online, you need to seek them out, because we shouldn't have to do everything online. If my friend needs money, my hope would they would come to me rather than going through a online social media site. That just doesn't make sense. So if you are talking to someone online through a online dating app and they're asking you for money, it's a scam, and that person is a scam. And we're going to talk more about that. So scammers hide behind fake profiles on dating sites. This is very, very common. It's more common than a lot of us want to admit, because we don't want to admit that we're not talking to the real person. But how they do this and how you can kind of see the red flags popping up is they're going to profess their love to you very early. So it's a quick relationship. You've never even seen each other in person. You've never FaceTimed or done any video chatting. Maybe there's always an excuse, but they love you and they'll do anything for you. That quick devotion to you is often a sign of an early scam that's to come. They claim to be overseas for business or military service. This happens a lot where scammers are using the military as their excuse or their profile, mainly because men and women serving overseas can't be contacted very easily. So it's a lot easier to use their profile. They ask for money and seduce you off the dating site. So maybe they are saying, let's move off this site and let's just chat Facebook Messenger or Snapchat, or something like that. So they're moving you out of the dating site and onto some other platform, really because the online dating site has security implemented and they're trying to track that. And so they don't want to be tracked. So they're going to try to move you off of that, especially if they're asking for money. So they might ask you to use another platform that allows an exchange of money. So Facebook would be one of those. So they're going to try to move you off the dating site onto another platform. They claim money is needed for emergencies such as hospital bills or travel. So again, if you're going back to, they're always overseas on business or in the military, there's an emergency, we need it now. Hospital bills, I can't get home unless you send me money. There's this urgency behind it. And when they profess their love early and they're continuing to talk about their devotion to you and hit your emotional side, that's where people easily fall into sending money. And then plans to visit but can't because of emergencies. That's just a little side note where you never can get them face to face on the phone, like video chatting. You can't get them to visit like they promised. They cancel a lot. Maybe they're just sending pictures, but you have no idea if those are real pictures. You can actually take pictures that are sent to you and drop them into a Google search, and they can do a reverse lookup. I think it's just Google reverse lookup, picture lookup. You can Google that and you can drop a picture in and they'll actually look at every site that picture has been on. So you can easily see if that person is who they say they are, or if they're on a million sites, then it's probably not a real person. Or oftentimes we see people will steal stock photos of models and they end up as that character on this dating website, but this model is not online. Their photo is everywhere. So definitely look up the photos that you're getting, especially if any of these red flags are coming to fruition during your dating life online. What should you do? So as far as online dating and the scams that come along with that, slow down. This is very hard. I think it's just for young people, even older people that they just want to settle down. We tend to take things pretty fast, but slow down, talk to someone you trust. Don't let the scammer rush you. So what I had said in the last slide was they're going to profess their love early for you, their devotion really quick. Talk to other people, talk to friends. Don't keep this a secret. This is a big one. If you're telling a friend face to face about your online dating situation and they kind of go, you know, this doesn't sound right. Trust your friend. Trust the ones that you do know, that you do see in front of you. They may be able to kind of take the emotional side out of things and see things very differently on your behalf. So it's always good to get someone else involved and just run things by them. Never transfer money to scammers from your bank. Buy them gift cards or wire money. Again, that's giving them your personal information, and the gift cards, you're kind of at a loss because it's very hard to get the money back for that. It's possible, but it's hard. Contact your bank ASAP. If you have sent money to a scammer, they could put a freeze on your account, get some of that money back, especially if your bank is FDIC insured. You are insured to get that back if we could prove it's fraud, and the bank will handle it from there. So definitely give your bank a call. Report your experience to the online dating site. Very important, because that scammer is likely going to keep scamming people. They may not use the same face, but it's always a good idea to report who was scamming you. And then again, report your experience to the ftc.gov/complaint and ic3.gov. Both of these are complaint departments that are interested in online dating or online scams that you're experiencing. So definitely a good place to start. But call your bank. It's always the first line of defense. And don't rush things. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to research a person. And it's definitely okay and highly encouraged to get someone that you do trust, someone that is visible to you, involved in this whole process, just to make sure that you're walking down a safe road. Have resources all over the place here. So there's a lot more to scams and fraud. These are just the general things that we're seeing an abundance of in various ways here in Lincoln and Nebraska. A lot of times the scammers are using college kids, maybe kids that are here from overseas, and they're using threats of your family, back at home, or ICE, we're going to deport you. We're seeing scammers use that kind of aggression with people. We had someone fairly recently that was simply the case. Somebody called them. He was from overseas here to study, and they used the ICE line, and they said, you're going to be deported and your family's going to get injured if you don't send us money. Well, he was smart enough to call UBT. He called us and said, this is what I'm dealing with. How do I get money to him? And the scammer actually wanted gift cards. So I was told it took several phone calls with this young man to alert him and get him to understand that ICE will never ask for gift cards as payment. And so to help him understand that process and how ICE works and the security component of it, he finally decided, okay, I'm not going to do this. And everything was fine that he didn't. But it took quite a while. But our professionals here at UBT definitely know how to answer questions, even if you're not from our bank. You don't bank with us, definitely give us a call if you do have some scamming questions. Give me a call. I'll send you to the right person. I've done it before. Somebody just called me because they were on one of these webinars and they had dealt with a scam before, and they just wanted to make sure everything was fine in their account. So I got them connected to the right department. So feel free to call if you ever do have questions, or email me. I do appreciate your time. And Amy, do you have any other questions?
I don't. Thanks. Good information as always,
Yeah.
Caitlin.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.